Hey guys, so welcome to my channel. Today we'll be looking at something called monkeypox. So if you've been following the news, you must have heard by now that this is just another zoonotic infection that has been making headlines and leads on international media outlets such as the BBCs and CNNs. And so without much ado, we just get into a little bit of a background about the disease, the transmission, the signs and symptoms and manifestations, as well as the treatment options, some of the treatment options that are now available. So without much ado, let's get into it. The background, a little bit of background on it, it's that it's caused by a virus that belongs to the genus Orthopox virus. In this case, we are referring to basically an enveloped double-stranded DNA virus, and this is why it doesn't have a lot of strains, because it's a double-stranded DNA virus, unlike the coronavirus, which is RNA virus. So DNA viruses do not really have a lot of strains, and in this case we are not really expecting a lot of strains like Delta, say Beta, all those kind of strains that we must have heard about other viruses that are now killing people. So yes, this particular thing, it belongs to the genus Orthopox virus, but not just that. Remember, the family is called the Poxviridae family. And so looking at the history, we do know, or because we do have records about this, that in 1970, that was the time that it was first identified in the DRC, or the Democratic Republic of Congo. In fact, today I was going through a little bit of a history about this in an article put up by the Up to Date. It said that it was actually found in a 9-month-old boy in a region where the smallpox had been eliminated in the year 1968, somewhere around that. And most cases had been reported from rural rainforest regions of the Congo region, particularly the Democratic Republic of Congo itself. And human cases have been increasingly being reported from across Central and West Africa. And this is why it's going to take us a little bit to an event that happened in the United States and some parts of Europe in the year 2003, because the first monkeypox outbreak outside of Africa was actually in the United States of America, and it was actually linked to a contact with infected pet prairie dogs. So basically people just that travel to endemic regions of Africa must have brought them to those parts of the world. And so talking about the strains, we have two strains that are known as the Central African and the Western African one. So basically those two distinct strains are the ones that have been reported, looking at both the molecular and the epidemiological evidence that we have so far. So in comparison, what is the difference between the Central Africa and the Western Africa strain is the fact that the Western Africa one is less virulent, and in fact it's said to lack a number of genes that are present in other viral strains. So it's less virulent. Yes, I'm glad to know that, because I'm from Western Africa. So there you go. We're looking at this background again. If you look at this, like I said, this has been in existence in Africa for a while now. So this particular graph, map A and map B illustrate this particular fact. And this basically, if you look at it, these are countries reporting confirmed monkeypox cases in humans, like since in the year 1970 or more. So if you look at this, we have A is like between August 1970 and May 2018. So you had like over 574 months. You have cases all around these countries. So you have Sierra Leone, Liberia, Nigeria, Cameroon, Central Africa, and of course the Democratic Republic of Congo, where you have like 50 to about 200 cases. It's crazy. So the B1 is actually between January 2017 to May 2018, which is a period of about 17 months, which is very recent. And so you have places like Sierra Leone, Liberia, Nigeria, Cameroon, Republic of the Congo, Central Africa, and then Democratic Republic of Congo had more than 200 cases. So looking at the transmission, how is it actually transmitted? We know by evidence that it's through animal to human transmission and human to human transmission. So on the animal to human transmission, we know that the virus is typically acquired through contact with infected animals' bodily fluids, or even through their bites. So in Africa, for example, the evidence of monkeypox virus infection has been it has been found in many types of animals, including squirrels. You have tree squirrels, Gambian pouched rats, not the Gambian from my country. This is just a name of an animal, please. You have and even some other species of monkeys. So, monkeys and animals are actually incidental hosts. The reservoir actually remains unknown. So it's not like when we say a monkeypox, we are saying it's always from a monkey. No, that's wrong. It's mostly found in infected rodents from Western Africa and Central Africa. So if you look at this on the human-to-human transmission, we do know that it can occur through large respiratory droplets. So that's unlike coronavirus, for example. All right. So the transmission is actually for it to occur, it needs to be large, very very large respiratory droplets. Transmission can also occur through close contact with infectious skin lesions, or even from contact with lesion material. So recently, we do know that in this very month, that is May 2022, an outbreak of monkeypox in several non-endemic countries have been reported up. And right now I have about 90 confirmed cases as the moment of doing this presentation. And so we have like we are now having molecular evidence as well as epidemiological evidence that people that are involved in a sexual relationship, I'm talking about man-to-man sexual intercourse, I've been getting a lot of cases of these this particular zoonotic infection, supposedly zoonotic infection, that has been making waves in places like the US and United States of America, Sweden, and all the other countries. So signs and symptoms include the invasive period as well as the skin lesion period. But before that, you need to know about the incubation period, which takes 6 to 13 days, but it can range from even 5 to 21 days. All right. So after the incubation, shortly after the incubation, what you have is a person the infected person goes through the invasive period, where you have fever, headache, lymphadenopathy, back pain, myalgias, and intense asthenia. So continuing with the signs and symptoms, remember that within 1 to 5 days after appearance of a fever, a rash would appear, and often it begins on the face, then it spreads to all other parts of the body. Now, this rash has it's kind of strange because it goes through different stages before finally forming a scab, which later falls off. So as you can see, you have the vesicles as it forms more pustules inside. You have an obligated pustule, which is like 3 to 4 millimeters. Remember, it goes through all of these stages all the way to forming a scab, which later falls off, as you can see on the image. Now, an individual is obviously going to be contagious until all of the scabs have fallen off and there is intact skin underneath. If not, they will just keep transmitting the disease. So the scabs themselves may even contain infectious viral material, which is another strange thing about the monkeypox. So look at the severe case of monkeypox, and what this image shows or indicate is that areas of erythema or skin hyperpigmentations are often seen around discrete lesions, right? So remember too that the lesions may be very
different, all right? They may vary in size, or sometimes they may be larger than the ones that we've seen on the previous image, these ones that we are seeing. They may be larger than those ones. As you can see here, look at these big lesions. Lesions of different appearances and stages may also be seen at the same point in time. So also the detached scabs may be considerably smaller than the original lesion itself. So these are some of the things that you have to put in mind in diagnosing a patient on time and receiving the treatment. So when it comes to diagnosis, we have the PCR, we have the immunohistochemistry, and they have electron microscopy, even though at this moment in time, most diagnoses have been done through the PCR, all right? So when it comes to the therapy, for the first and the most important thing would be what? Prevention, all right? You have to prevent the disease from spreading. Treatment for monkeypox itself is mainly preventative and supportive. Basically, we have a vaccine against the smallpox that I've talked about, which has about 85% of effectivity against monkeypox. So the prevention of transmission is another important thing. And now, when it comes to the medications, the ones that are being used right now, they are tecovirimat, and you have the brincidovir. Those two are very, very relevant because what happens is, if you look at the tecovirimat, it inhibits the function of a very, very important envelope protein that is usually required by the extracellular virus. And so when we inhibit that, then the drug would obviously, it would prevent the virus from leaving an infected cell, and thereby it will just hinder the spread of the virus within the body. So these are some of the two drugs that are in the market right now, and they're very much effective against the monkeypox. All right, so any questions, any comments, anything that you have for me, please drop on the comment section. Thanks.